Hello, my name is Allison from the Cultural Classroom, and today I will be presenting on Pear Deck. Pear Deck is a learning tool that you can use in the classroom, or in my opinion, even in the boardroom. It is a way to get formative assessments from students and to elicit responses from them in a fun way. I love Pear Deck. I use Pear Deck almost every day in my class. It's completely changed the climate of my classroom. We do all sorts of activities on Pear Deck. They draw, they translate, they do number games, they do flashcard factories, they do all sorts of great things on there. And I just think that it's a tool that more teachers should be using in their classroom, or at least should have in their arsenal of tricks that they could go to if they want to change it up or switch it up every so often. When I talk to teachers and I ask them about Pear Deck, a lot of times they don't even know about it. And so I've been on a personal campaign to alert people about Pear Deck and and I'm not getting paid for this, and to let people know how great Pear Deck is. Um, I think that people are intimidated by the setup of Pear Deck, and there really isn't any major setup of Pear Deck. It's all very straightforward, it's very easy. That's why I made this presentation, the no nonsense guide to getting started with Pear Deck. It's under 20 slides. I made it all original content. I know that teachers are very busy people and we don't have time to read 90-page how-to guides. And so that's why I made this 18-page how-to guide. And so I hope that you guys get a nugget of information out of it. And if you have any questions, I am so happy to help and to answer any questions that you may have. You can email me at theculturalclassroomtpt@gmail.com. Please visit my different outlets and resources. I have a Teachers Pay Teachers classroom under the same name, The Cultural Classroom. I also have an Instagram page, The Cultural Classroom, no O's, and a Twitter page. And so please visit me at these different places. And I just love sharing knowledge with teachers and with people. And I am really enjoying the process of all of this. I also have a blog, which you're on, presumably, right now. And please just go around and explore the different posts that I have up and let me know what you think. All right? Thank you. Now, before I get into the actual teaching part of how to install Pear Deck and how to utilize Pear Deck, I'd like to show you a little bit of what you can do with Pear Deck. So I created a couple of sample slides so you can see how you can use Pear Deck in the classroom. So here is an example of a slide that I use at the beginning of class when the students are coming in and they're opening up their computers and they're logging in, and there's a question on the board. And when they log in, this will pop up on their computer and it says, "What is filling your bucket today? What's draining it?" And it causes them to pause and reflect on what is bringing them joy and what is taking joy away from them. And sometimes you get things like, ugh, school, and ugh, nothing. You get things like that, the typical kind of middle school answer. But a lot of times you get pretty insightful answers. You get really well thought out answers, and it allows the student a time to just kind of sit and reflect and think about their day and think about themselves. I love Pear Deck because it comes from a social emotional angle. That's where they're coming from, and it's not just just a standard traditional educational angle. It's this, well, we have to educate the whole child, not just the material that the child is learning that day. We have to educate the heart of the child as well. I'm speaking from my point of view. I don't know if Pear Deck actually believes this, but from my point of view and from the slides that I've dealt with from Pear Deck, that's what it feels like, that you're educating the mind and the heart of the child in addition to the subject matter that you're dealing with. You can also use this as a startup slide, a stress check. And it is amazing to see that if your kids, a lot of them are in the same math class, for example, and they all have a test that day, a lot of them will, be at the 8 range. Or, if a lot of them are in English together and they all have a project due that day, a lot of them will be in the 8-9 range. So it's very amazing. You kind of get some insight as to what's going on in the lives of your students. So this is just to show that even though I have a Pear Deck presentation, I can insert my own slides. So this is a Gustar slide that I have that has followed me since the beginning of my teaching career, which is going on almost 10 years. And I just love it because it's very straightforward. And I can insert, basically Pear Deck is an add-on to Google Slides. That's it. Very straightforward. It's an add-on to Google Slides. So I make my basic Google Slides presentation, and then I add on the Pear Deck slides. Or I can Pear Deckify a slide. And that's it. It's so simple. It's a simple concept. But it's a stumbling block for some because people think that, oh, Pear Deck is its own program. And it really isn't its own program. It's an add-on. I call it like Google's friend. It's a friend of Google. It's an add-on. And you'll see when I actually go into how to add on is literally what you have to do. Add on the program. Here's a translation exercise. So the students will all have their phones or their computers. This will pop up on their screen, and then they all type in their translation. I will see all of their translations on one screen, little thumbnails of their translations. And I can decide if I want to feature one. I have something that's called a dashboard, and this dashboard allows me to filter their answers, filter their results. Because again, we're dealing with middle schoolers, at least I am, and I haven't had this happen, but the sillies could come out. A case of the sillies could come out, and we don't want that to happen in real time. And so we want to make sure that we prevent any silliness from coming out on the board in front of all of the students, any drawings or inappropriate language or anything like that. And so the dashboard is great for that, great for filtering through the responses. But this is so cool because you can teach them, okay, I'm teaching you Gustar. And then now let me see if you know how to use Gustar. Can you say, I like to study? Can you translate that? Can you translate it appropriately? And it's just a quick assessment. And you can scroll through all the answers very, very quickly and just see, did everybody get it? And you can see who didn't get it. Now on the board, if you're following me, on the board, the blackboard, whiteboard, their names do not show up. So I've found that it encourages participation because the students are anonymous. And so they don't feel like, oh man, I'm going to be the dumb one. They feel like, oh, I can try and see if I can succeed. And so it's pretty good. And just the basic fill in the blanks. Again, same deal. You get a thumbnail of what the work that they do. Me gusta. I changed this. This was actually a true false, and I just changed the text to me gusta, me gustan to reflect the activity that we were focusing on today. And then this is something that I love that Pear Deck includes. They include stretch breaks in their presentations. You don't have to include it, but I like including it. And the students, when I do like ticket out the doors to ask them, what did you think about the stretch break? They always say that they love the stretch break. It made them concentrate better afterwards. It helped their blood flow better, etc., etc. Just little things like that can help their performance so much more. And we just take it for granted. So it's amazing how these little things can affect their education and how well they process the information. This is basically just drawing lines from, like it's matching. It's matching. Um, I I like these activities. They may, I think this is like a little like I could print this out on a piece of paper and give this to them to do. But I also feel good putting it in Pear Deck because I feel like I'm saving trees by doing stuff like this. Um, and it just is very, I can change it in the presentation. Like I can stop the presentation, adjust it, change some of them, add a new one, and then start the presentation again within a minute, and we're ready to go. So I made this. This is something you can make. This is like, now you're like graduating a level. This is, you take a slide and you get pictures and you Pear Deckify the slide. And I'll show you guys how to do that in a minute. Here's how you can have a lot of fun with the students. They love this, illustrating stuff. And so I tell them, all right, you think you understand the vocabulary? Well, illustrate this sentence. And then they draw the sentence. And I get great results with this, great results with this. And just last but not least, and there's so much more, I could probably spend like a good 30 minutes talking about all the different slides and all the different opportunities that are available within Pear Deck. Drag the dot to show if you're ready to move on. This is so great. You know, how often do you ask your kids, did everybody get it? Does anybody need me to repeat that? Does anybody need help? And you know that you have probably one kid who doesn't want to raise their hand and be the one who says, yeah, me. But this allows anonymously kids to admit that they need reinforcement. And so it's a great tool, wonderful tool. And I hope that you guys see some utility in it. And I hope that I've convinced you to go to the next level and to actually install it on your computer and work on making a Pear Deck slide. So now we're returning back to the no nonsense guide to getting started with Pear Deck. To install Pear Deck, simply log into Google. You can do this by going onto Google's website, www.google.com, and going on the upper right hand side and clicking on log in or sign in. And then you just sign in with your credentials. You can sign in with your school credentials, or you can sign in with your personal credentials. I usually sign in with my my school credentials. I usually use Pear Deck with my school credentials. So all of my presentations are nested under my school credentials. The only thing about that is that I can't share them with myself. Like there's like weird sharing things with my school. So just think about what the deal is with your school. Alrighty, now let's assume you're all signed in to the correct account. Unlike me, I have like 8 accounts. And so to access your drive, which is where we want to go now, you first click on the tiles here. Oops. You click on the tiles, and then you click on the little triangle symbol, drive. We want to make slides. So we want to go into slides. That's how we're going to access Pear Deck, is through slides. Because remember, I told you that Pear Deck is an add-on to Google Slides. Pear Deck is an add-on to Google Slides. So we're going to go to My Drive. This to me is the easiest way of doing it. You can do it a whole bunch of different ways. Go down to Google Slides, create a blank presentation. So now you've created a blank presentation. You're going to go into add-ons and then get an add-on. You will have a box that pops up and you're going to type in Pear Deck in the box. And then you're going to click on Pear Deck for Google Slides. Google Slides little friend. That's what I like to call it. And congratulations, you have now added on Google Slides little friend. Now, how do you use it? To open up Pear Deck, you go into the add-ons, scroll down to Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on, and then open Pear Deck add-on. You will get this sidebar pop up. This sidebar is Pear Deck, essentially. And here you have a template library where you can explore pre-made content that you can add on to your lessons. Here are screenshots of other things that you can look at in the sidebar. So you can look at the template library, going down the beginning of the lesson. That's where I got the pouring in, what you pour into something, what's pouring into you, what's pouring out of you. During a lesson, end of lesson, critical thinking, social emotional learning. I think that the stretch break is in there. Example questions, littles. So then they have it by subject area. So even if you're not a world language teacher like myself, they have like social studies, they have math. If I think they have like English and social. What's the other one? ESL, or they have another one in here that maybe I didn't screenshot. So anyhow, click on any grouping. So I'll go back, click on any of these, and keep clicking until you get a slide that you like. And add it. And then modify it. So this is French. I know a little French, but I do not teach French. So I would modify this for Spanish. Also, I would change the images because maybe I'm not teaching a fruit or food unit. So I would click on the image and go back so you guys can see it. Click on the image, go to Insert, Image, search the web, and then I'd search the web and actually insert my own image that I want and do that each time. That's how I got that page before in the second part of the presentation. The page that had all of those images on it, and I said, oh, I'll talk about this later. That's how I did that. So you can create your own stuff on here too. You can ask your own question. On the main screen of the sidebar, where the templates are, if you scroll down, you have the option to pairify a slide. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if pairify is a thing, but I'm making it a thing, okay? It's my thing. So you can ask students a question. You can either do a text question, a choice question, a number question, have them go to a website, you can have them draw, or you can do a draggable. A draggable would be maybe you have a map and then their mouse represents a flag, and then they have to drop the flag somewhere. So step 1 and 2, create your slide. This is just one of many options. Create your slide, then ask students a question. ¿Cuántos años tienes? So I clicked on the text option. And when I do that, it pops up with this screen, adding interactive question. And then you know that you have a Pear Deck slide when you have this banner strip at the bottom that says students write your response. And then it will tell you write your response for text, or draw your response for the draw option. And that's it. That is all I have for you today. If you would like more tips and tricks on how to use Pear Deck, please let me know in the comments below. I really enjoyed making this presentation, and I enjoyed doing this slideshow. So just let me know what you're thinking, all right? Please visit me, support me, and just enjoy life, all right? Bye.